Hey everybody, Black Ninja 797 here, and welcome back to another episode of Myth-Busting Mondays. And for the final myth of today's episode, guys, the final myth is going to be, can a hunter jump all the way from the Parish bridge down to the helicopter where you get rescued in the finale? Can the hunter make that big of a jump? Is he able to do the equivalent of a giant pass in football, but basically with his own body? If you guys end up enjoying today's video, please drop a like to show your guys' support, and if you have a myth of your own that you would like to have be featured in next week's episode, just please put it in the comments section down below. But yeah, guys, let's get on with this week's episode of Myth-Busting Mondays. Myth: can a survivor be affected by a charger's charge if they are both on different sides of a wall? Okay guys, so myth number 1 is going to be submitted in by Glotbursko, and I just wanted to specify really quickly, Glotbursko means, can you be affected in any sort of way by a charger for this myth? So we're not trying to get the charger to grab him through a wall and basically hack, we're just trying to see if whether or not he'll be stunned or anything of the sort. So here comes a charger or two right now, and as you guys can see, Glotbursko does indeed get stunned. He doesn't necessarily get grabbed, but he does definitely end up falling and stumbling backwards, which means that this myth is going to end up being confirmed. A charger will affect you if you were on the other side of a wall. You will just simply be stunned and not grabbed. Myth: can a tank call a horde by hitting an alarmed car? Okay guys, so for myth number 2, this will be submitted in by Normal Teapot. So Normal Teapot, thank you for submitting your first myth to the channel. We appreciate you. And yeah guys, basically what's going to happen is that I'm going to be seeing Glotbursko hit a tank that is on the first chapter of No Mercy, which has always got an alarm, and just see if whether or not it calls a horde. And as you guys can see, other than a murdering Bill, on my captions, there is no horde coming my way, which means that myth number 2 here is going to end up being busted. You cannot call a horde by hitting an alarmed car as a tank. In fact, actually the tank disables the alarm, because when you end up shooting the car after he hits it, nothing will happen, which is kind of funny. Myth: if 2 survivors are standing in a line and the survivor in the front crouches while a smoker shoots its tongue, will the survivor in the back become ensnared? Alright guys, so myth number 3 will be submitted in by Tyler. So Dan and Glotbursko will be standing in a line while I spawn in a smoker, and as you guys can see, Dan is in the front and he is going to try to crouch while a smoker grabs at him. But as you guys can see, even though he does indeed duck, Glotbursko does not get grabbed, even though he would be probably the most likely thing to end up being grabbed since the smoker's tongue was heading that way. We've even discovered before in prior episodes while testing smoker myths that the smoker's tongue has a unlimited range as long as the line of sight is not broken, which you can end up seeing demonstrated via this clip right here, where that basically Ellis flew pretty much all over the entire map, and yet he still got grabbed from a smoker's tongue, which means that there is some form of auto-aim tracking the moment that somebody decides to end up picking you as the target. So unless line of sight is broken, it seems once the tongue has decided to shoot at you, the game has already made up its mind that you indeed will be grabbed. So I'm going to say that it's safe to say that this myth is going to end up being busted. You cannot dodge a smoker's tongue unless the line of sight is broken, so you're better off just trying to get behind a piece of cover. Myth: does the Left 4 Dead 2 smoker model have a bigger hitbox than the Left 4 Dead 1 smoker model? Okay guys, so myth number 4 will be submitted in by Zaku. Now the way that we are going to do this to make sure that this is going to be the most accurate as possible is I am going to be showing you guys still images of both the Left 4 Dead 1 smoker model's hitbox and the Left 4 Dead 2 smoker's model hitbox. Now based off of what you're seeing here on screen, this is from the head all the way down to the feet. Now, in my personal opinion, based off of what I see here, even though they're positioned slightly different the way that this was still framed, I think that the smoker models are identical to each other. To even show you more detail, I'm also going to show you the Left 4 Dead 1 smoker in the Left 4 Dead 2, and then the Left 4 Dead 1 smoker in Left 4 Dead 1 back to back. This is the Left 4 Dead 1 smoker model in Left 4 Dead 2, and this is the Left 4 Dead 1 smoker in Left 4 Dead 1. They are pretty much the same, minus the way that they are positioned from when this photo was taken. So I believe the guys and I did a good job at describing the hitboxes in Left 4 Dead 2, and at least from Left 4 Dead 1 to Left 4 Dead 2, the smoker hitbox models are basically the same thing, minus a few exceptions, which are basically negligible. So I'm going to leave myth 4 here today at busted. Alright guys, so now we are moving on to the final myth, and the final myth is once again going to be, can a hunter pounce all the way from the Parish bridge down to the helicopter where the military goes to rescue you? This is going to end up being really insane, and I hope you guys end up enjoying the final myth. Can a hunter jump from the top of the Parish bridge all the way down to the military helicopter? Okay guys, so the final myth of the episode is submitted in by Dead Sled 8. So what we're going to have happen is that Dan is going to end up being playing as a survivor while me and Glabersko screw around at the very end of the map and see if whether or not that our little hunter legs are able to clear the gap. Alright, so here we are. So Glabersko is going to go first, and we're going to see if whether or not he can make this jump. This is the tallest part of the bridge that's possible without cheating. So here we go. Glabersko is going to jump on the count of 3. 1, 2, and 3. There he goes. And as you guys can see, he goes really damn far, and from my angle, it looks like he's super close to actually getting it. So now it's my turn, and this is going to be for all the marbles. I'm going to get to the very edge of the bridge as far as I can without falling off, and I'm going to jump now. It looks like I'm getting pretty far, but the moment that I see the helicopter, and I see how far away I still am, I realized that I was not going to make it. Here's going to be my jump from a third-person angle. You guys can see how it does look like initially, even from the third-person angle, that I was going to make it. But unfortunately, my body was falling way too fast, and I was only able to make it like 75% of the way, and I was not able to make that last quarter of the jump. Now, the concept of this myth is very awesome. I think it's very unique, and it would be really cool if you could do this. However, with that being said, since there was still a decent amount of distance that we still had to end up reaching before we could get to the helicopter, I would say that this myth is going to end up being busted. I don't believe it's a matter of technique, I just think you just can't reach that far. So I think that leaving it at busted is fair. The myth is cool, and it definitely was feasible in my mind, but the thing is though, is that when we finally ended up getting around to testing it, there was still a decent amount of water in our way, and fortunately, it was not able to end up happening. But yeah, guys, that is going to be it here for today's episode of Myth-Busting Mondays, and I do truly hope you guys ended up enjoying it. If you did, please consider dropping a like, comment, subscribe, follow, and all that beautiful stuff. And if you guys have a myth of your own that you would like to have be featured in next week's episode, just please put it in the comment section down below. Or, as an alternative option, if you want to, you can even place it in our Discord server, because there's a custom Myth-Busting Mondays tab in there, so that way you guys can submit them there as well. If you would like to submit a myth via the Discord, there is going to be a link for it down in this video's description. But yeah, guys, I hope you end up enjoying seeing another YouTube video from the most unique YouTubers you're ever going to see. Thank you for watching, guys, all of you, and peace out.
Hey, meme lords, Jesus here. And you better have enjoyed that video there by the Eternal God Daddy Ninja. You should probably subscribe too, or the mighty Moab will come for your balls. If you enjoyed the video, you might like it too. And give me the memes. Flash, bang, boom!